Hi there and welcome back, friends. We will investigate further in Torment, Tides of Numenera by asking Melmoth, Leviarm, about the tides. That's what Adiris wants to know from us, if we have talked to him about it. Oh good, you've come back to bedevil me again. Adiris told me to come to speak to you about the tides. You'll find none better equipped to answer the question, certainly. The tides are an inextricable part of us, and he snaps a clamp on one of the attachments on a tube. Wait, she sent you to me? He peers closely at you. Interesting. Every time I talk about the tides, she argues with me, as if she'd spent a fraction of the time I have in studying them. Scan thoughts, what game is Adiris playing? She probably said that we bring pain through our existence. Let me enlighten you. Everyone brings pain to others. I have experienced so many lives in memories, and one of the common threads in all of them is pain. Do we hurt other people? We do, but how do we differ from any mortal in this regard? Show me someone without pain, and I will show you a corpse. He winks, and then I'll eat it.
Making a note.
We are imperfect. We leak tides or absorb them, or both. Our powers impinge on the minds of others, upon their nervous system if you prefer. We draw strength from them. We change them in the process, and not usually for the better. This is regrettable but unavoidable. Adiris might have said that sorrow is hunting us because we abuse the tides, or some such nonsense. But if that's the case, we're doomed by the nature of our existence. If true, why not use the powers we have? Adiris also thinks that a tidal surge on my birth was responsible for a devastating argument between two humans. Oh, this is entirely possible. The tides are a psychic force, and when we are born, our minds snap into a particular shape and falls out of the residue. An unprotected mind nearby might well absorb some of that energy and react in unpredictable ways. But what of it? Does this change anything in your life? Two mortals had an argument. Oh no. Boo-hoo. He turns to Calistique. From the look on your face, I'd guess one of those humans was you. Elias, don't worry, Calistique. It would have happened anyway. All the surge did was overwhelm your natural defenses and push you into a decision more quickly. He stares at her more intently. Looks as if you've plenty of experience in making rash decisions already. If you're going to keep throwing yourself into things, you really ought to improve your defenses. Be prepared. Calistique, now a corpse eater, is offering me advice. My thanks. I'll keep my own counsel. Melmoth smiles beatifically. Yes, discard the advice from the man who is centuries old and has accumulated knowledge of untold lifetimes. This is the best decision you've made all day, I'm certain. He quirks an eyebrow at you. This is one reason why most of us cease consorting with mortals. Except when we have to. We have such good advice for them, and they always ignore it. How do you know so much about the tides? Melmoth sighs, exasperated, and holds up his bony hand, folding his fingers back as he counts. 1, I'm hundreds of years old. I can devote this kind of time. 2, I am dedicated to knowledge. 3, I will do anything in its pursuit. 4, I learned to draw memories from dead people. 5, I sought the dead who could teach me about the tides. He lowers his fist. Follow that trail of thought. You will find me at the end. That's how I know. And why do I do this, do you think? Let me tell you, since you clearly wanted to ask. It's because the changing man thought the tides were important. He uses the tides to shape us. Do you want to know more about how you were created? I did. And so I researched the tides. The reason for this is that I am not an idiot, unlike so many of our siblings. That's a lot to take in, right? What did you mean when you said the tides were an inextricable part of us? Did you think that you could come back from the dead because you were born lucky? Our bodies require tidal energy. Cut us off from that energy and we dissolve. It's the way we're structured, the way our sire created us. He invented a mental matrix and imposed it on the bodies he grew. I surmise that this matrix is what allows his consciousness to transfer and what allows the tidal energy to permeate our forms. Without it, he grins and pulls his hands apart. Splush! But we have the advantage of being able to draw on his power for our own uses. He constructed each of us along different lines, and because of that, the patterns that hold us are different. Is it any wonder that we should be able to channel this into tidal surges? And what are these tides anyway? And where did they come from? You know, they're a psychic energy field. They pervade the Greater Sagas Protectorate, but the pockets of tidal activity are localized in the Ninth World. That suggests that through they are a natural force, they are also artificially induced. Civilizations have risen around their use, he frowns, and civilizations have fallen. Scratches his nose again. Odd thing. I have sought to decipher the accounts of those times, but the creatures that made them are strange. The sorrow shows up in images and sounds and spectra I can barely understand. He taps his head. That's why I sought a better method. You get the occasional disease, a strong mind that doesn't want to share its memories with you, but everyone wants to be remembered. Talk to the voices long enough, they realize you're their only true heir. Let's ask him some other questions. Melmoth squints at you and then relents. Growling at you won't make you go away, I suppose. So ask. Okay, from the looks of this, he knows nothing more. So farewell, Melmoth, and thank you for the talk. Now we should go back to Adiris and find out if that was enough for her. But for what? Wait. First, yes? Let's talk to Rin. Just as something in between.
What was Adiris talking about? The tides, I mean. Tides are a thing an ocean has, not a person. What did she mean?
The tides are an invisible force. My body uses them to stay alive, among other things. Other things, Rin says thoughtfully, like hurting people. You're thinking about what Toll used to do to you, aren't you? Rin nods, her lips a tight line. The woman who stole me, Toll, used to do that to me. She said it helped her, that she'd kill a grown-up if she couldn't use me. She brings a hand to her mouth. She hurt me, made me feel sick, sad, and dying. I wanted to die a lot, that's why I ran away. I know it's none of my business, and I probably won't even know if you do it, but promise me, promise you won't hurt anybody like that, ever. I can't. I just can't. I won't do it unless it's absolutely necessary, like to save your life, for example. She nods, her face serious. That makes sense. I'll accept that. That said, what's your story, Rin, as we're talking? Her brow furrows and she clutches her elbow with one hand. You know some of it, maybe as much as I do. What did you want to know? Where are you originally from? Her expression grows distant. It's a better place than this. It's safe and warm. And it's a long, long way from here. For a moment, it seems like she's lost in thought. Then she starts talking again. There are a lot of trees there. It's full of growing things and a little village with a tall wall to keep bad things away. And I have parents there. Rin shakes her head a bit and turns back to focus on you. That's where I belong. That's my home. I have parents there. I am not an orphan. Sounds like a lovely town. What is it called? Rin smiles and opens her mouth to answer. A panicked expression flashes across her face for a moment. Her eyes dart back and forth before she puts one hand to her injured head. It's Baranth. She looks up, her tiny face grave. Yes, it's called Baranth, my village, my home. That's where my parents are. You're so far away. Why do you speak the same language as everyone here? Rin tips her head to the side thoughtfully. I don't know. I guess I could also wonder why you all speak my language. How did you get to Sega's Cliffs? Rin shakes her head, tears springing up in her eyes. I can't remember. I remember running and a fire. But it wasn't the right color for a fire. I don't know. Rin looks around, her eyes lost. Then I just remember being here, and nothing making sense anymore. How long have you been away? Rin scratches her neck thoughtfully. Only a few weeks, I think. She touches the side of her head again lightly with her fingertips. It is hard to remember. When I got hurt, I don't remember the time around then very well. Do you think your parents might be looking for you, Rin? Rin looks thunderstruck, as if the thought had never occurred to her before. When she finally speaks, her tone is flat, almost numb, and it's clear that she's talking to herself as much as talking to you. They know I'm safe. They can't be here. They have to be safe at home. Rin brings her hands to her mouth slowly, her eyes terrified, and oddly flat, almost glazed. She turns away from you, speaking to something in her hands, her voice too soft for you to hear. She continues like that for a long time. Worried and muttering, you realize she has forgotten you are even here. I'm sorry, Rin, but we all have to go through this, I guess. And now, let's talk to our dearies. Have you spoken with Melmoth then? What did he say? Well, he said that the tides are within us all, and that we should use our powers as necessary. Adiris laughs. I imagine he called me a fool and worse. He's done more research into the tides than anyone else here in Mirla West. Tell me, did he say anything else? He said I should ask where your powers come from, if not from the tides. I awoke with them. Adiris adds, they are not as far as I'm aware of my manifestation. For tidal energies, it's not as though we have a measuring apparatus, of course, but I think I would know if I were using these forces. At any rate, I sent you to speak with Melmoth. Do you believe that he has conducted his studies with anything but his own power in mind? He seems to care deeply for the preservation of knowledge. So he says, Adiris says, and he has certainly gone to great lengths to do so. I don't believe in his positions, nor his conclusions, for he may well have inflated the results to justify his actions, but he refuses my mind's touch, and he rebuffs my attempts to inquire more deeply. My own personal views are, of course, irrelevant to the deeper truth that he has in his own memories, and they may be purer than mine. So I have another task for you. Andronas and Raima are arguing. The recent negotiations between the Chalcedon and Parge broke down, and these two have taken it hard. They are like to come to blows if they cannot be reconciled. Adiris bows her head. If no one strikes the other, the laws of Mirla West are clear. The attacker will be evicted. I don't know if the sorrow is truly more active, but they came here choosing safety. It's what I try to wish. So I have another task for you. Andronis and Dryma are arguing. The recent negotiations between the Chalcedon and Page broke down, and these two have taken it hard. They are like to come to blows if they cannot be reconciled. She bows her head. If one strikes the other, the laws of Mir La Vesta are clear. The attacker will be evicted. I don't know if the sorrow is truly more active, but they came here choosing safety.